Asmongold is absolutely ruthless in his criticism of Bungie's new game, Marathon. His most recent video is titled Concord Sends Their Regards. Let's jump right into it.
So, former Concord dev says that it was gut-wrenching to see our project fail, but urges players not to judge Marathon too soon. To call this game a failure before it's even out is wild to me. Really? Well, it wasn't wild with Concord. It was pretty fucking accurate. So, it's actually, like, I think that it's really funny how all of these developers and people want to act like it's not fucking obvious when a game is going to die. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, people were right about, okay, let's just make a list.
There have been a lot of accurate predictions of games being successful or not. And I feel like he's going to make a good list here because I'm even just in my own mind, I know that there's a pretty extensive list of games that the community, the gaming community at large said, this is not what we want. And then the studios went forth with it and pushed it out anyways. And they flopped horribly.
Notepad. Okay. Games people were right about. Okay, number 1, Concord. Concord number 2, Assassin's Creed. Shadows. Okay,
that one wasn't that bad.
There it is. Let me go back. I'm gonna just go ahead and space this out. There we go. And Veilguard. South of Midnight. Forspoken, Starfield, Avowed, Lost Records, Star Wars Outlaws, Dustborn. Like, I mean, nobody cared about that game to begin with, but, like, sure, a Flintlock, Unknown 9, living up to its name. People don't even know what game that is. So how is it that gamers don't,
Suicide
like,
Squad,
how is
yeah.
it that every time that the internet of capital G gamers decides that a game is going to be garbage, it's garbage? Isn't that interesting? How every single time that one of these games comes out and people say it's going to be bad, it's bad every...
It's almost like gamers know what they want to play. If you don't know, I've been talking about this quite a bit lately, which is that most people watching this video right now and most people that play games have grown up playing them or have played so many that you have a very well-tuned taste for what a good game is or what a good game will be, because you probably played some of the games on this list or maybe some of the dozen or 100 great games there are out there currently right now. And so you have a good idea. You have a good compass for what's going to be good. So the feedback tends to be very well aligned if the feedback can be determined. And right now the feedback, I would say it's mixed, but it is mostly negative for Marathon.
Every single time. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad they asked to add that.
Do you have like a 100% success ratio, and the only game on this list is maybe Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? Maybe this one wasn't as big of a failure, but I think it was, especially considering what their projections, I'm assuming, were. Redfall, yes, look at this, Redfall. But how many of these are there? Skull and Bones. It's just insane. I mean, Avengers. From Square Enix. Just so people don't get it confused with, obviously, Marvel Rivals. It's Anthem. No, people didn't really have a lot. I don't remember what Anthem, like, the dialogue was around that. So
Anthem's dialogue before it came out wasn't overtly negative. It was a different time. And I think that people were a little bit more optimistic of the game. It fell flat, of course, so that could almost be an indicator of the community's feedback being poor. But it was honestly so long ago that I feel like now, fast forward to now, they've got more people that are on social media, more people that are vocal, more people that have played a lengthy history of games, that people have a little bit maybe better feedback than that. But I don't think Anthem had that negative feedback before its launch.
I don't know. Yeah, Saints Row.
But it did die.
Here's the thing. We could keep going. Urges players to call this game a failure before it's out is wild to me. Well, welcome to the fucking jungle, bitch. There's precedent for this, and it sure seems like there's a 100% hit rate. I'm sorry. Really? What are we talking about? Let's take a look at the art. Let's see what they said. And so I replied to this. I said, some games deserve to be aborted. Concord is the reason why I'm pro-choice. Marathon looks okay, but the characters look over-designed and are not visually appealing. That's it. And so I didn't even read any of these comments or anything like that. Game with no dedicated campaign should be DOA. Base take Asmongold as usual. Everybody knows that. We're getting pre-banned from Marathon subreddit. I wonder if they'll ever listen to the main player base of these games. What is this here? To me, they look trans too, which is an instant turnoff. If you cannot immediately tell the gender of a character, put the character in the garbage and try again. That's my opinion. If you can't immediately tell. Now, there are, like, I can think of one exception. I thought this was a girl. I did. I thought I had to play as a girl. But it turns out it wasn't a girl, but I was like, bro, it might be a girl. But it's a femboy, which is okay, right? Because but it's a JRPG. So it's you've got, like, a special set of rules, okay? But anyway, former Concord
So I think that the interesting point to take from this in the terms of this title is to call the game a failure before it's even out, right? Is a bit too far is what this Concord dev is saying. But the reality is that we can only actually judge Marathon on what Bungie has showed us at this point in time. So people aren't giving a criticism of Marathon's failure as when it comes out. We're really just giving the criticism right now from what we see. And the early optics, the early visuals aren't especially appealing to, I mean, so the larger audience, I would say, I don't know what the exact split is. It's hard to say, but it seems like there's a good amount of negativity towards the game. And so we can't judge what Marathon will be after it comes out. We haven't got to see what that's like, right? Maybe it would be significantly better, but the idea of, well, you know, it's not looking good right now, guys, but just wait. When it comes out, it'll be so much better. You're not really going to sell people on that, right? Like, people aren't going to pay their $40 for this game if it's, you know, going to be so much better when it actually ships, you know. Sell people now. You had your chance for your first impressions and it didn't go over as well as you want. There's still time for course correction. There's still time for an adjustment to be made, many adjustments to be made if needed, and change the trajectory of this game. It's very possible that this could be a very successful game if the feedback is received well and adjustments are made.
Dev says it was gut-wrenching for us to see our project fail, but urges players not to judge Marathon too soon. To call this game a failure before it's even out is wild to me. It's wild to you. Well, hey, let's go ahead. This is like an investor in Enron, SBF. No, what's the company that he did? I forgot even what the company was called. It's like, this is like you've invested in Enron, Theranos, FTX, and like, this is like an investor who's telling you, wait a minute, guys, no, this one's not a scam. Come on. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, but Bernie Madoff. Yeah, exactly. And Theranos, pick on it. Yes. A gameplay of Bungie's extraction shooter was excitement for a non-negligible number of gamers who have jumped into the conversation to make unflattering comparisons to Concord. Spurred by these reactions, a former Concord developer is taken to Reddit. Let's take a look at the Reddit post. Hey, all. Former Firewalk Studios dev here. I've been a long time...
And just as a side note, it's an important piece of context. I don't know if he'll actually jump into it, but the developers of Concord were Firewalk Studios in junction with various different Bungie devs that were laid off. So there was the mass layoffs, right? And then other studios scooped up the talent and built other games. And one of those games was Concord. And it was widely talked about how much there was a big Bungie presence in this game, because Bungie has a pretty good reputation of making good shooter games. And so people thought that Concord, you know, that could be in part a selling point, that, you know, hey, these Bungie devs came over and helped build this game. And obviously that backfired horribly. And now you can sort of draw conclusions as to why people think that maybe Bungie's next project would have the similar effect as to what Concord had, because it was literally Bungie employees making Concord, in part at least. I don't know what the exact percentage of split it was between Firewalk devs and former Bungie devs, but it was enough that people made it a significant portion of the narrative of Concord's development, and it was meant to be a positive. It was meant to be like, hey, Bungie, who's made Halo and Destiny, is now making, ex-Bungie devs are now making Concord, right? And well, we saw how that turned out.
Lurker for many years, and I rarely post anything. But after reading the comments about Marathon being Concord 2.0 on Reddit, YouTube, and Twitch, I just wanted to share a little insight into what a 40-year-old man is feeling after dedicating a large portion to his life for making video games. For the past, well, I mean, he dedicated the last 7 years of his life to comedy, but other than that, yeah, maybe he made another game before that as well. For the past 17 years, I've been part of some great projects and worked on some talented people. Many players knew about Concord and what happened with the project. Concord failed to inspire players, and the messages was heard loud and clear. Well, apparently not by Bungie. It was gut-wrenching to watch our project fail and be the laughingstock of many online. Well, yeah, I bet it was. Listen, we all know this, but I'll say it again. I am the most empathetic streamer. So I can understand the way he would feel. I bet it sucked. I do. I bet it sucked to have everybody making fun of you. I could easily see that. It makes a lot of sense.
It's one thing to be in that sucky position where you failed colossally, right? Like Concord is presumably the biggest failure of any video game in the history of video games, right? And so it's one thing to be in that position. It's a whole nother thing to sort of show the lessons that you learned from that, right? Like we failed, but here's what we would do if we could do it again. Or as we try to develop, Concord 2.0 or whatever it is that they're cooking up, if they are even cooking up that. They probably have lost so much money that it's probably been scrapped altogether. But at this point in time, it'll be interesting to see what this person would say in regards to, okay, it was a failure, but this is what we would do in retrospect, to what happened.
Most humble? Yeah, but I'm not talking about that right now. I can't bring it up all the time because, I am, I'm kind of like, just how it is. What the fuck are these studios doing? I don't know. But anyway, so I can see that. I understand it. I have learned that failure is what drives me to succeed. Well, then why are you driving Bungie to fail? No one feels as bad as the people who put their time on the line hoping that it will entertain the masses of gamers around the globe. I'm not asking for pity or even sympathy because after all, the name of the game, you win or lose, the margin of success is very thin. I took a chance and I lost. You didn't take a chance. You did not take a chance. You didn't listen to what gamers wanted. You actively went against it. You pushed narratives in games that didn't resonate with your core audience. You did this knowingly. If you ask this guy, who the fuck do you think your audience is? And if he thinks that it's this modern audience type of thing, no, you didn't take a chance, bro. It's insane. Like, this isn't a chance. You just decided to lose.
It's a pretty harsh criticism, I would say, from Asmongold, but it's actually pretty accurate if you think about it. Like, if all the feedback was given and you still just, full send said, we're pushing forward with Concord being this way. Like, we obviously, with Concord, it's a unique, point of discussion because we've seen the beginning, the middle, and the end of the whole disaster, the whole train wreck. So we can look back and analyze, what went wrong here and where, right? With Marathon, however, we're at the beginning, right? So we need to see what's going to happen in the middle and then what the end resolve would be. And so we can take parallels and we can see, what people are trying to purport, former game developers and stuff, and try to create some parallels. But it would be interesting to see what his next point is with this and kind of where he goes with what's his criticisms are of this guy, because he's going pretty hard on him here.
Us gamers are tired of this. Well, gamers have risen up. The prophecy has been fulfilled. The idols are being destroyed, and a new world is being made anew. The Concords of yesterday are history. Yeah, the beacons are lit. The beacons have been lit. Okay? People are tired of this shit. And some of you probably smell blood in the water. Yes. And you probably want to roast me for no longer lurking and exposing myself. No, you made a shitty game. You made a mistake. It's okay. Mistakes happen. Learn from it. That's what everybody makes mistakes. I don't want to roast this guy massively. A little bit I do. But massively, I'm not trying to roast this guy. Mistakes happen. You fucked up. But man, you really fucked up, didn't you? And the worst.
Well, it's one thing to mess up, like you said. I think his point is you messed up, but now you're sort of encouraging a similar pattern that could lead to a sort of, a continuation of fuck ups, right? Which is an interesting point to make. We'll have to see. I mean, ultimately, we will have to see what Marathon's success is when the game does come out. We'll have to see if Asmongold is right or not. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's continue here, then.
Worst part about you fucking up is you don't even understand how you fucked up.
That's the most that is interesting.
That's the problem. It's what I said earlier. If you can't figure out why you failed, you can never succeed. Because you can never reverse engineer why it is that things didn't go right. Why did you put ugly fat women in the game? What were you thinking? Are you retarded? Nobody wants to be that. Ugly fat women don't want to be that. That's why they use anime profile pictures instead of their face. It's not even a question. Well, what are we talking about? This is ridiculous. How's this even a conversation? But you can't say that. You can't say that. And you can't say that because you're still complicit in a lie. I hope you don't. Most people don't create these projects and work very hard to be the next big thing. Seeing the faces of the developers Bungie stream gave me hope and excitement for what's to come on Marathon. I commend them for taking a chance and trying something foreign to them that isn't proven nor guaranteed to succeed. Yes, because Bungie has never made a futuristic fantasy shooter with laser guns and different planets. This is actually the first game like that they've ever made. So it's a new horizon for them. Anything goes, right? Yeah, who knows? Anyway, it takes a lot of courage. TLDR, I worked on Concord and I did my best. We came out short. Please don't punish others for our mistakes. We're not punishing others for your mistakes. We're recognizing the pattern. We're all human beings who are trying to create something special. Well, then do a better job. Marathon is no different. Be kind and cool as video games are meant to be fun. You recognize how nothing that this person did was address any of the criticism that people had or talk about why it was wrong or not wrong.
That's actually a very valid criticism, I would say, is that it was vague. It was, don't throw punches at Marathon. It was kind of like a mercy post more than anything, rather than really getting down in the grit of it and being like, this was part of the problem. This is where we messed up, and if I could go back, I would do it differently this way, and really kind of owning up to it and really showing the difference that the failure did, like, to change you. Like, I think that is actually a valid point in criticism.
And the reason why is because in the games industry, this problem is the emperor's new clothes. Everybody knows that people don't want characters that look like this and designs that are in this type of perspective or narratives like this put in the game. But nobody in the development community, nobody in the gaming audience, the gaming professional space can address this because it's career suicide. And I want to promise you that if you can't address this, it will be career suicide because gamers will kill your game. Every single time. And here's the list. You want to join the graveyard? Then talk around the problem. I hope you do. It's better content for me. I'll make money. The only person who wins here when you lose is me. The dogpiling is real? Absolutely. Absolutely. So only the games that you approve? Yes. I've been trying to become, get to Trump and tell him that we need a video game czar. If I become the video game czar, there will never be another fat woman in a video game ever again. I promise you. There will never be a girl with a cup size under double D ever again. I promise.
What am I listening to?
That's right. I will not let you down. L, we need small tits. Okay. maybe if maybe so okay, but they have to be sexualized in another way. That's okay. No, you're right. You're right. There are guys that like that, and that's okay. But then it has to be something different. You know, but yeah, something else different, right? And anyway, so I can take care of this. I'll deal with it myself. We've seen good tits, small tits, big tits is fine. You just got to be hot. Exactly. Anyway, so here's the point. If you want to join the graveyard of games, pretend like you don't know what the problem is. It's worked great. It's worked really well, right? Because every single video game like this that's come out has been an absolute failure. And so if you keep on to talk around it, that's it. I appreciate the write-up. I'm sure you did the best with what you were directed to create. I didn't want to be that dev calling attention to myself as I have a horse in the race, but to call this game a failure before it's even out is wild to me. Well, people called Concord a fail. Like, every single one of these games were called failures before they came out, and every single one of these games people were right about. Like, when was the last time that a game came out and the collective internet didn't think that it was going to be garbage and it turned out to be good?
That's actually an excellent question. I'm trying to think of a time when that happened. That is a really good point.
When did that happen? Silent Hill? I think that's a good example, actually. I do. I think that's a good... Dragonflight? The thing is that... So I think Dragonflight might be in a situation that South of Midnight was in, where, like, the game quality was actually pretty good, but it just didn't bring an audience. So I wonder how well Dragonflight sold and how much money it made. Because I think that it's probably like South of Midnight. Like, I thought the game was decent, right? But it doesn't matter whenever it doesn't make sales. And that's really it. Resident Evil Village? No, as soon as I saw the trailer for that game with that tall lady with the big boobs, I immediately thought the game was great. I did. I thought it was a great... I never played the game, but I think it's probably a great game. Yeah, I feel like it probably one of the best games, if anything. And so, yeah, Helldivers. Do people think Helldivers was going to be bad? I don't remember that, to be honest with you. But anyway, so you could be right, but I think that Silent Hill is a good example. I really hope there's no one too uncivil in these comics because you worked on Concord. Yeah, for sure. Or always makes me shake my head when looking at gaming discourse online is the way that people think that somehow devs are part of some grand conspiracy to intentionally make an unfun experience. Well, somebody's got to be responsible. And if you work on something, people are going to blame you for it. Imagine that. You know, like... I don't know what you want me to say. So anyway, thank you for the dev insight. For the little I played at Concord, I liked it. Yeah, but it wasn't enough. And let's see here. Thank you so much for giving us Concord. I agree. Thank you so much for giving us Concord. I got so much out of that game. You have no idea. It was absolutely great for me. Yeah, it was...
The Concord glaze from this guy is unreal. Like, that's crazy, you know? Like, at the very least, just you know, be thankful that the dev, I guess, I don't even know what to say. Honestly, you know, you don't want to roast someone so hard when they work so hard on something. You kind of just want to just ignore it. That's kind of the stance I take, you know? You worked on Concord, I leave it at that, you know? I'm not here to throw more punches at the person, right? It's already... Concord's result is what it is.
I probably made more videos. I probably made more money making videos about Concord being bad than Concord made as a game. Like, straight up. I probably made more money than the game did. Somebody says bro's a fucking vulture. Hey. It is what it is, right? Why are you lying? Yeah, that's it. Wait, man, kept lying. Yeah, exactly. And Dan probably, yeah. Oh, these guys a muffin basket? Yeah. Send them a little gift basket. Exactly. And anyway, Concord failed to inspire players. Concord, as you recall, wasn't just a failure. It was a spectacular flameout. It launched to virtually zero interest and was pulled offline less than 2 weeks later. And then Sony decided to pull the plug on Firewalk to an ugly outcome given that Sony had acquired Firewalk for 2 years earlier. So anyway, let's see. People clearly expecting the same from Marathon. It's not a massive backlash, but there's a strain of persistent negativity out there, which is what prompted Williams to post this message. And yes, the reason why the message is out there and the reason why people don't like it.
Real quick though, that's crazy to think about. That not only did the game get canceled, $400 million lost, but then Sony, I didn't even realize that Sony literally canceled the entire studio. Right now, I think it would be a bit bizarre to even think that that would be the result with Bungie. Like, clearly Bungie is not going to get the Firewalk Studios treatment. And even if Marathon itself does end up being Concord 2.0, which I personally hope it isn't, you know, I don't wish failure on any game or anything really. But if it does get that, you know, at least Bungie could fall back on its destiny to success and hopefully would, you know, put a re-emphasis on building its core audience, which is the Destiny 2 players.
Is because it looks weird. That's the reason why. The game characters look weird, and they look like these, like every single fucking American video game has to introduce a bunch of androgynous, weird, gender non-specific characters that nobody wants to be. This is the reality, is that you get all the hoes dressing up for Marvel Rivals, ain't nobody want to look like this bitch. That's a fact. And so at the end, like, and that's free fucking advertising. Literal free real estate. And you don't want to do that, that's your problem. That's it. Metal Gear Solid 2 is the first. No, am I wrong? Really? Why the fuck do people want to play characters that they don't even want to be? Yes, it's crazy. And you make dudes look like this when they aren't buff. Every guy, like, think about every fantasy story. Aragorn looks like a G. Legolas looks like a G. Gimli is a dwarf warrior. Gandalf looks like a fucking wizard. Let's see.
Gandalf's like some old man with a long beard. What?
Conan the Barbarian.
Okay,
I'm
now we're
pretty
getting...
sure he won some awards for being a really good-looking guy, right? V for Vendetta. Yeah, I mean, hey, well, he's wearing a mask, right? It's a little bit different. Han Solo, Gears of War. Yeah, Marcus and fucking Coltrane. These dudes are fucking jacked. They're massive, Dom. Yeah, Clive from Final Fantasy 16. Like, Loki, even Loki.
Someone said Chewbacca.
He's a good-looking guy. He's a little bit, sinister-looking guy, but he's still a good-looking guy. Kratos looks like a fucking badass. Solid Snake. Bro, they based him off Kurt Russell, who's a G. Bro, Kurt Russell in Escape from New York and Escape from L.A., it was so good. It was so good. Like, that was... Dude, Aura, yes, exactly, right? And look at Blade. Like, Wesley Snipes is Blade. Fuck yes, he looks awesome. Yes, and so Duke Nukem, yes. Again, nobody wants to be a fat brony with, cargo shorts and a Cheeto-stained t-shirt. Nobody wants to look like me. Fuck no. If I wanted to look like me, I'd go to a mirror. If I wanted to look at a bunch of ugly people, I'd go to Walmart. If I want to play a fantasy video game, I want to go to a different place.
He's out of line. But is he wrong though, right? If you want to, he's even being critical of his own image. He's not saying that he's the image of beauty or perfection. He's saying, like, if he were to make his own video game, he, in his current physical state, would not be a character in the game. You'd be someone, you'd be a jacked dude. You'd be someone that looks attractive in some way, right?
Am I crazy? Really? I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind. Jesus. Meanwhile, he just called it a failure himself. It was. To call this game a failure before it's even out is wild to me. No, it's not. No, it's not. If something looks like shit, it's probably shit. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. Somebody say, don't judge a book by its cover. I say, if you can't even figure out how to make a good cover, what are the odds that you can write a book? It's one picture. You can't figure that out? But I'm supposed to expect that you can write a whole tapestry of a story? Fuck no. If it's shit, it's shit. What about chocolate? You can smell it. It's different. What was the last game that looked like shit but turned out to be great? Ooh. Eesh. Ooh. Ah. Schedule 1? No, that's art design. Like, you could say Schedule 1 or Pal World, but what you're talking about is graphical fidelity. I'm not talking about graphical fidelity. Schedule 1 looks really good. It just has low graphical fidelity. That's a different type of situation. I don't know, man. I really don't. And so anyway, Concord dev, yeah, this game is going to crash. Did you guys really think it was a bright idea to get a comment from one of the Concord devs? LMAO, Concord 2. Man. It's objectively a failure before it launches on a few fronts. It's embarrassing, bro. It really is. Like, I just... If we knew go from Concord to here is a failure, yeah, it's just we were right about that pile of shit Concord, and we'll be right again. No, and anybody calling this game a failure in pre-alpha is stupid. No, 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 no. Most people make a decision on a game probably within 20 seconds of looking at the trailer. Most
first impressions mean a lot. Like, just not just with games, but with most things. Your first impression means a lot to whether or not you're going to invest your money in that particular thing. So I think that's the biggest takeaway I take from that.
People take that first impression and they say, is this cool or not? And if that first impression is bad, they're not going to play the game because it looks weird. It just looks weird. That's it. It's like, I don't know about this. This looks weird. That matters more than anything. Think about how many people got hoodwinked by Diablo 4 because that first impression was immaculate. It's just common sense. Bro, the beta was so good. Well, so were the trailers, and so was Lilith. And so was, like, all of the visuals for the game. It was fucking amazing. As far as I know, I mean... Maybe there's a couple of exceptions. Very rarely are there video games that gamers were right about, that were successful. Megan Fox fooled us? Yes. But the thing is that if you replaced... Okay, so let's think about it like this, all right? If they replace Megan Fox in a Diablo 4 commercial with Rosie O'Donnell, do you think it would have sold more or less copies? Way less. Way less. Right? So it's just common sense, man. It's common sense. And so, and again, everybody knows this, but some people want to hide. You come out saying a game can be the next big thing and it's something of a unique genre, you better bring it. Yeah, it's got to be good and interesting. Stop pandering to the modern audience and there's less gut wrenching. Yeah. So a Concord developer says don't write it off yet. If only you had done the same thing, maybe you could have spared yourself. Like, I mean, can you imagine? Like, I would, like, if I was a Concord developer, I would immediately go out, like, in order to keep my resume pure, I would immediately go out and commit a felony to get put in jail. So I could say that the gap in my resume was because I was in jail, and I wouldn't have to explain the fact that I had actually worked on Concord. It's sad. Can you imagine that? I don't know if you watch the reasoning for everything, not feelings. No, the thing is, I try to be fair. I try to be fair. Concord is getting its own animated short. I was gonna make a joke about a very big tragedy, but I guess we don't need to do that.
That was easily one of the most unhinged, roasts and videos that I've seen, and I think that's just Asmongold on the regular. He can be a bit intense in his reactions and criticisms of gaming and other things, but I would say that some of the bigger takeaways and points that he made that were extremely valid is just that gamers know what a good game is, and right now gamers are more critical now than ever. And so it's very important, if you're going to try and launch a whole new game in this space, that you do a really good job and that you're very thorough and make sure that you're trying to sell to gamers and understand your audience as much as possible. And from what I've seen right now, and my biggest criticism is that Bungie with Marathon, they are not trying to sell to the extraction shooter audience. Escape from Tarkov players are not interested in this game. Extraction shooter players are really not that interested in this game at all. And they've also made it very clear that this game, as they mentioned before in an article we talked about, this game is not for Destiny 2 players. This game is going to be a PvP-centric game, and obviously Destiny 2 is not that, but Destiny 2 is a PvE-centric game. And so what is Bungie's audience here? What are the audience they're trying to create for Marathon? And the answer to that is that there is absolutely no audience for them, and they're trying to build something completely new and different. And it's a bold strategy. It's a very bold strategy. We'll have to see if it does work out for them in the end, if they're able to make Marathon a big success. Only time will tell. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button for me, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.